welcome back to Play and Trade Guitars. I'm John, that's Zach behind the camera, and this is Play and Trade Guitars, where we play it and trade it. I'm loving the Vintera II line from Fender, and today we're going to be checking out the 50s Stratocaster. A lot of great vintage throwback inspired cosmetic choices and appointments. We'll talk full specs when we pull it apart on the bench, and of course we're going to plug it in and play it. But at the top, if you're in the market for the Vintera 50s Strat, make sure you buy that using our link. When you buy new gear using our link, you help us make these demos. In the States, you get fast free shipping, easy payment plans, and makes buying new gear super easy. You'll find that link pinned in the comments or down in the description. We're also giving away a Martin D28 when we hit 100,000 subscribers. To win that guitar, just make sure you're subscribed and enter via Gleam. That entry link is also down in the description. All right, let's take a first look at the Vintera II 50s Stratocaster. Looks fantastic. I love this line. This is the line when you want accurate vintage recreations and details. And on this 50s Strat, it's got a lot of great things. You got the single ply white guard, you got a V-shaped 50s neck. You can feel a slight V in the neck, which I think is a really cool detail here. Vintage frets, you got a vintage trem system, 50s single coil pickups, 5-way selector switch. Just a beautiful looking guitar. It's also available in 2 other colors that look fantastic. You can check all the current pricing and availability using our link. But this one feels great in the hands already, and nice and lightweight too. Alder body, maple neck, great combination from Fender. Let's head to the bench and pull it apart. All right, that iconic Strat headstock, spaghetti letter Fender logo in gold, these slot vintage style tuners. Maple neck, and then a standout feature of the shape of this neck here. You got the gloss poly finish, but it's got this slight V shape, which on a vintage guitar is a really cool feel, and I love that feel on a Strat neck. You got 21 frets on this guitar, double cut Strat, alder body, single ply white pickguard, 50s style single coil strap pickups, and they've done a really nice job getting the voice of these pickups right in the series. You can see they've got the vintage trem, all the details right, standard Strat controls. So let's go ahead and get these strings out of the way and we'll get some measurements. Nut comes in at 1.65 inches, first fret at 0.9 inches, up to a 12th fret of 0.96 inches. Definitely a little bit of a thicker, meatier neck with that V shape. Alder body comes in at 1.78 inches thick. Comfort cuts, gotta love a Strat for that. And this is actually even cool. The contour of the Strat body has changed over time, but in the 50s it was less pronounced, and actually one of the things I'm noticing is how the actual contour on the Strat body here is less pronounced than it would become later on. So again, a lot of attention to detail for 50s stylings. Go ahead and pop the neck off. A couple things here. They went with a vintage radius on this, so it's a little bit more of a pronounced hump on this maple neck. It's going to come in at 7¼ inches for the radius, so a little bit more humped. And then you also have the vintage style truss rod adjustment where you have to loosen or take the neck off. And then you can just get a look down there at the raw alder as well. Go ahead and flip up this pickguard here if we can. Not a huge amount of lead to work with. So you can see these black bottomed 50s single coil pickups, 250K pots under there, everything on the body routed for single coil. Fender routes a lot of their bodies now for humbucker, but this is vintage spec, just routed for single. And even the cloth wiring, just again, a lot of cool details on these guitars. Got a 5-way selector switch. We'll go ahead and flip on the multimeter and get a reading. We're at 5.4 in the bridge pickup, 5.5 in middle, 5.4 in neck. Quick look at the trem cavity here. Actually, this could use a tightening because you can see the bridge is floating a little more than I'd like it, so I'm just going to tighten that up real quick. So one kind of strange thing as I'm kind of putting the guitar all back together, this nut, you can see how shallow those grooves are, and actually when I go to bend the G string, it pops right out because they barely even carved that. So, and the same thing with the D string here. Look at that, it's just so shallow. That would actually be grounds to probably send this guitar back, honestly, but we'll make do for now. Feels pretty lightweight. Let's go ahead and get a weight here. 7 pounds, 10 ounces, we'll call it 7.6 pounds. Comfortable weight, great weight for a Strat. Flipping it around, I will tell you that for as much as I love this line, they do, so far, a trend I've noticed, they come with the action pretty dang high. So I went ahead and I lowered the saddles on the Strat. I actually loosened up, I actually tightened the trem a little bit just to get the trem kind of floating where I like it. But Other than that, I pointed out kind of the nut seems a little shallow to the point that occasionally the G here wants to actually pop out, so you got to kind of watch that. But that aside, the actual shape of this V-shaped neck is a standout. It's really comfortable in the hands. I've always liked that. Feels like just a solid Strat. I'm really excited about this one. Remember, if you're in the market for this guitar or any other gear, click to buy new gear using our link, and if you're in Europe, you can use our Thomann link. That's also down below. Now comes my favorite part. We'll get this plugged in. I'll show you clean tones. We'll dirty it up, and then I'll let it sing behind a track. On the other side of the playing demos, I'll give you my raw reaction, my honest reaction, and I'll give you a final score for this guitar. So drop a comment as we go. I'll see you on the other side. Let's get plugged in. Let's do it. did you think of the Vintera II 50's Strat? You stuck with me to the end, so I'll give you my honest reaction to playing the guitar and a final score. My initial reaction to this guitar, there's a lot I like about it, but I did find that the neck, and I don't know if it's the string spacing, I can't put my finger on it, it does fight me when I play a little bit. I've reviewed the Vintera II 60's Stratocaster, which was an absolute knockout. I love that guitar. This one I don't like as much as that one, and I'll kind of tell you the reasons. Let's dive into the score. I gave a guitar a score based on 3 main categories: overall playability, overall sound, overall value. This one, I like the sound and the value proposition, but the playability is where it's lacking. I do like the idea of this soft V shape in the neck, but for whatever reason, I can't put my finger on it. This guitar just fought me the whole time that I played it. And there's something about kind of going for a run and kind of feeling a guitar that it just doesn't want to let you grab those notes. And what starts happening then is, instead of letting the music come through, you start to kind of think, and you start to think about, am I going to land it, am I not? And not too many guitars do that, but I will tell you, unfortunately, this guitar did that to me. I can't put my finger on it. Maybe it is the neck shape. Maybe it is the 50's neck spec that just doesn't gel with me. So that's kind of my take on it. Overall playability on this guitar, I would go ahead, I'll give it a 7.8 in overall playability. Overall sound, I also liked I'm a little biased now because I liked the pickups more in the 60's Strat as well. Maybe I'm just a 60's Strat guy. These pickups, they sounded best with like a tube screamer. They sounded fantastic, I thought, with some distortion. Nothing wrong with them. Good sounding pickups. I'll go ahead and give them a solid 8.5 in overall sound. And then value at $11.49. These are made in Mexico. And I'll tell you that this one did have a couple of flaws. The nut, I don't think is cut properly. I think if I got this particular guitar, I'd probably send it back, because I can actually, did you see that? Maybe I can do it again. Just by bending, I can pop the entire string out of the nut completely, and I think it happens with the G string too. So it's a shallow nut. I would send this guitar back. You know, I think that's probably a factory flaw, unfortunately. But value proposition, otherwise, if you get it built correctly, that's step number 1. Step number 2, though, I have noticed in this series that they do ship with the action a little high. So you've got to either know how to set up a guitar, or you've got to be willing to take it to a tech to get it set up. If you invest in this series, get it set up properly to your liking. That'll go very far in making this a better playing experience. So overall value, I'm going to go ahead and give this guitar, for the price, for the build quality, assuming that this one came out of the box perfect, I go ahead and give it a 9.0 on value. It's going to bring my overall score for the 50's Vintera II Strat to 8.4. It's okay. It's solid. It's okay. It's not a bad guitar. I would just point you to go watch my demo on the Vintera II 60's Strat. For my playing style or my own preferences, I'll tell you that that guitar felt leagues better, and to me sounded leagues better than this guitar. It might just be me. You can let me know in the comments if you agree which guitar you're going to buy next. Remember, if you buy any guitar gear, buy that gear using our link. It helps us make these demos, so thank you very much for doing that. You'll get fast free shipping, easy payment plans in the States. You can also, if you're in Europe, use our Toman link. All that's down below. And remember to be in it to win it. We're giving away a Martin D28 when we hit 100,000 subscribers. To win that guitar, just do us a big favor. Hit subscribe now if you haven't. Turn on notifications and enter via Gleam. You can sign up to win that guitar via Gleam, also down below. All right, thanks for hanging out. This is the Vintera II 50's Strat. We'll see you on the next demo. I'm John. That's Zach behind the camera, and this is Play and Trade Guitars.